Hi, Zizaran here with another video, and in this video I'm going to cover a little bit of the start of my Trickster and where we're going with that. It is a Lightning Strike character and very fun to play. As you can see, it is pretty crazy. It's a pretty crazy build. It's very tanky already, and it'll be an update on that. But I also want to talk a little bit about how I leveled it, because there is a really cool leveling method that some of you have already heard of, and that is the Envy and Summon Spectral Wolves on Kill thing. So I want to explain a little bit about that to begin with, and then after talking about the leveling, I will explain the Trickster, where I am at, and where I'm moving next. So to start with this leveling method, and you could do this on a lot of different ways, so I'll talk a bit about that, but I started with 2 rusted swords, and like whenever I remake a character, I just scour these, because right now you can see it's at level 46. I'll talk about that later, but you just need 2 rusted swords, and you summon Spectral Wolf on Kill on one and Envy on the other, and you actually get that up here with the runesmith table, and you can search for Wolf. So it's 11 life rune, and the Envy is 8 war runes. So I think that's 20 chaos worth of runes on most of the leagues. So very cool. This does also work on wand. So I was Trickster, so it was very easy for me to scale Frost Blades, and I'll give you a rough example of what I was doing. But you can do this with Kinetic Bolt, and you could use different skills as well. Pretty much everything works, but the reason I chose Frostblades is with Ancestral Call support gem, this is like really nice for clearing. And your wolves also can be set up to clear because support gems matter on this. So some people in chat were saying they were using like melee splash, minion speed, and they were having the minions clear for them. So they would just kill something at the start of the instance and then just run through. I found that with Frostblades and the gear I had and the additional damage from the wolves, because they buff your character with, I believe, just flat physical, which I convert to elemental. But that worked really well for me. So I would actually be attacking myself just very quickly. And as you can see, I'm running through the campaign, right? It is just like run, click on any big pack. And my main damage problem was single target. So what I would do is I would have multi-strike, minion damage, and faster attacks, which I think I later changed for hypothermia. I can't remember. No, I changed it for the withering strike, because we do get a lot of chaos damage from Envy. This is a level 10 Envy, not level 1. Now, at level 46, I was starting to have damage issues. So what I did, because initially this just had, you know, a random attack speed roll, I just threw some chaos at it. But then at level 46, I would use a Screaming Essence of Fear. And I anointed, and this is a bit of an expensive anoint, but really nice if you're already over there, like if you're a witch or a Templar. But I anointed Spiritual Aid, and what Spiritual Aid does is it makes that minion damage affects me, so that like 120% increased minion damage we get is the same as just having 120% increased damage. So that's very nice, really enjoyed that. So as a rough example of a tree that I use for leveling, it was pretty much this. So obviously I am converting the physical damage the wolves gives me into elemental, and yeah, you will notice your damage fall off a lot if the wolves aren't on. I'll talk about that in a second, but go through here, I went down here, so I'm picking up a lot of life. I feel like that's pretty much all I needed earlier. Of so much damage. It does not start falling off until Act 5, which gets fixed by the Fear Essence, and then in Act 8 or 9 again, it falls off, and that's where you want to start moving into your normal gear for whatever character you're doing, and you can just use respecs. I think my respec was like 80, 60 respecs. It wasn't too big for me, but then we go down here, pick up some damage here, and the Pierce, and then I pretty much rushed the Precise Technique, and here I don't think I even needed Precision. I did need the Weathered Hunter nodes, and later I did need Acuity, but you can also do Precision as well. If you have an Enlighten, this is very easy to fit, and Enlighten does work on the Envy aura, I think, if you put the Enlighten in that weapon. Then grab that, and then I think I went for Life next, because I was like, you know what, all I need now is Life. So I started going like this, basically, and filling that up. On softcore, you might not need that, but this is a rough example of a tree. Obviously, if you're something like Witch or Templar as well, you have a lot of, if you're doing Frostblades, you have a lot of elemental damage nodes here. So you want like attack speed, attack damage, elemental damage, damage with swords. And you generally want to go for that. So that worked really well for me, and you can just respec later. Now you can do this with Kinetic Bolt as well, like I said, and then the Kinetic Bolt, I think it's quality on it, converts spell damage as well, which would be really, really good. And then you can still use the Spiritual Aid Fear thing as well, but spell damage will work, so woes would work on your weapon. So you have some interesting ways there. So another thing that was really good is the Hateful Accuser once you hit level 50, and that lets you cast Penance Mark on the bosses, which means that you always have that, well, you have Blood Rage up. If you're using a Death Rush, you always have Adrenaline up, and you will always have your wolves up, and they're a big part of your damage. Some other skill gems that were really nice, I would have like the Auto Convocate setup. So I would have Convocate with the auto casting gem. The gem links I used as well was Frostblades, Ancestral Call, Elemental Damage with Attacks, Hypothermia, Added Lightning, and early on I used Pierce, and then later I used Faster Attacks. Vicious Projectiles could be a good gem too. Hypothermia, you want to make sure you have cold damage, and you're not using LA Focus because you do need the enemy to be chilled. And I used Tassalio's Sign as well. It's a big leveling favorite of mine. Lots of cold damage. And then I used the Hoop at level 20. And then I would switch later. But I needed some stats, so I took 30 Strength and Int on the skill tree. So that is that character and how I leveled. And yeah, it went really, really smooth till level 70. And then I needed to respec a bit. Did I actually kept going until 84. So it was okay for early maps, but it definitely had fallen off hard. On my first leveling run, because I actually leveled up and then instantly died in my first map by not looking at the screen. But in my first leveling run, I think it was like 2 hours to get to Act 9, and then I spent like an hour leveling up to 72 and gearing, and I was a bit lazy with gearing, and that's why I ended up dying. But this is my new Lightning Strike Trickster, and I wanted to make this because I don't have a boss killer right now, and I love playing Trickster. I'm not a big fan of Molten Strike, so Lightning Strike is really fun for me. And yeah, I will go over the character I have and how I crafted the gear. So this is pretty much the config. I do have Awakened Gems that aren't in yet. They're still leveling on my Sparkler, because obviously that gets a lot more gem XP than this. So we'll have level 5 Awakened Gems at some point. And this is also assuming it's cursed, which for normal monsters, I'm not cursing them, but for bosses I am. So the way we're doing that with curses is that I'm using Anathema. So with Anathema, I have +1 max power trigger, so I have 4. And then the way we're casting that is we actually have a trigger socketed spells when you focus on my helmet. So that works really well. I basically run up to the boss. I might put Inky AoE on them right now. And honestly, gem sockets are a little bit weird on this build. I was following Sai's POB because he's making a similar build to this. I'm not sure who came up with it originally, but a lot of people, maybe it was Viro. People have been doing Ephemeral Edge for quite some time. So obviously that just makes sense this league, with Energy Shield being so much easier and better than before. Sai's POB had a Mage Blood, so I just have to make a lot of adjustments for not having that. I was really worried I was going to have to run Purity of Elements, and I really don't want to do that, particularly because I actually am ailment immune without. So I was like, oh man, I don't have a Mage Blood yet. So what I'm doing is my shield, I've found myself a 33% chance to avoid elemental ailments. I was just doing tier 17s and it dropped, and I was like, ooh, 33, that's enough to get ailment immune. And yes, I have 32% implicit, so that's the perfect implicit with a deafening max roll. So the shield, if it was 32%, would not have worked, but with 33 it does. So I'm fully ailment immune with that. And then we get all these lovely curses. I have an Immortal Call set up right now. I should have a Smite setup as well. Smite would add a lot of damage, and I can get Fortify from it too. So for bosses, I will eventually want that. I just have to drop something, and I'm not sure what. Yeah, bit of a pain. I'm using Grace, Haste, Discipline, and Enlighten, and they're currently not 21 on any of them, so I will get a little bit more from that. I do have Discipline effect on my ring, but yeah, I will definitely level these auras to 21 soon. I currently do not have a 21 Lightning Strike, but that is the next thing I'm trying to get. And that will actually be a substantial damage, 200k, so kind of like an Awakened Gem. I am leveling elemental damage with attacks, so we can like simulate that. I do not have Awakened Mold Strike. I will not have Awakened Mold Strike probably. It is so expensive. I will have Awakened Lightning Penetration, and that is quite important because, let's see, is the enemy exposed to lightning? That'll be another 500k damage. And we have the mastery here, that is exposure is at least 18%. So very strong, and I will eventually bother getting quality. So already, I also don't fully know how to calculate Lightning Strike because there's something with like, I think the count is maybe supposed to be 2 because it's, you know, there's positioning. I just have to remember this. But with Lightning Strike, because it's using nearby enemies are also hit, it will sort of, with perfect positioning, which is close to the boss but not on top of it, it'll hit twice. And you do have returning projectiles too. So I am probably closer to like 10 million damage, not 19. And yeah, I do normally dump the double Val Lightning Strike on a boss as well. So I've been already doing, since level 87, I was doing things like Flawless-ish and stuff. We have a Sniper's Mark on hit as well, and that's with Enhance and Inspiration. Obviously would eventually want a level 4 Enhance, but it's only 100,000 damage, so not that big. Don't fully know if I need Inspiration for the mana cost of Sniper's Mark, but we do have a lot of mana burn because I am using a Tincture. And then I have a normal movement skill setup. And obviously the Immortal Call setup, I don't have endurance charges, sadly. So let's go over my items and what's really needed to play this. I don't fully know how it works on a budget. I skipped that stage entirely because this is like so into the league. I was very comfortable like putting like 70 divines into this build before starting. But if you look on PoE Ninja with people using Lightning Strike and Ephemeral Edge, you will be able to see on solo self-line and stuff, people that are doing it without RT. I know Manny is playing it, I think. I don't know if he has RT yet. But I had this before starting. And this is a very big deal because getting accuracy is a pain without Ephemeral Edge having RT on it. And we are using like precise technique and stuff. So obviously getting the accuracy rating higher than life is easy. We're CI, so our life is 1. So you need 2 accuracy and you're good. But getting it after accuracy cap like will require a lot of points, but you still probably can get a few million damage starting this. Titanium Spirit Shield, this was literally just dense spam. Now, I was for a while doing dense and fundamental because fundamental has more attributes. Because ideally I want int on everything. It's not that we're an int stacker, but we are an ES stacker. So the more stuff I can get it into on, the better. And you can see that I am taking Utmost Intellect 2, and I do want 3 Cluster Jewels. And the important part here is all of them need Veteran Defender. The last node doesn't really matter. Ideally, with Martial Prowess, I think it is worth taking because I really want attack speed anywhere I can get it. Probably will get rid of it when I get my 3rd cluster though. So I basically want Veteran Defender and Feed the Fury, attack speed while leeching. And 15% attack speed is huge for this build. I've actually been using even this. So I got like a synthesized ring for cheap. Nobody really uses these. They're 20C. You could use a time clasp as well. Because when I'm clearing, I don't really need the curses from Anathema. And I just want as much attack speed to make it feel good as possible. So that's what I've been doing. My jewels as well are kind of reflecting how much I want attack speed. So I don't have crit. So I would love a 4th useful stat here, but yeah, as much attack speed as I possibly can get. I'm using a Thread of Hope, a large, and this says Quick Step, 1 with Nature, Primeval Force. That's pretty much it there. And yeah, I want a 3rd cluster with Veteran Defender and Feed the Fury. Mana is not really an issue on the build. We have obviously Trickster gets mana on kill, but we also have mana on hit and reduced cost. And we have extra reservation there. So pretty cool so far. Really enjoying playing it. And I'm going to continue scaling the build. We'll look a bit more at the gear. I have the best necrotic armor on hardcore trade. I finally managed to get some good suffixes. Now, since I am suppression kept with this, a lot of people are saying they wanted to mirror my test if I got tier 1 suppression and int. I do have the int, but I did not get tier 1 suppression, and I am not going to go for that because my character doesn't need it. So the fact that if 2 or 3 people wanted to mirror it with tier 1 suppression is not enough for me to remake that. So it is what it is. I'm pretty happy with where we are right now with the chest. I will divine it a little bit better. It can't get much better. It is 1 flat ES off, 15 flat evasion off, and 9% energy shield off on the prefixes. So I would divine it a little bit more if someone wants to mirror it. I probably wouldn't charge much, like 5 divine, 10 divine, whatever. But yeah. And this is 27 quality, perfect implicit. And for those that are new and are maybe wondering, like, why are the quality chests selling for so much? Because a lot of people noticed that I sold the other 2 copies of this for 27 divine each, and that is actually because necrotic armor like benefits so much from the quality. Every quality per is 1% more quality, so the 27 is basically 27% more evasion and energy shield, which is insane, and it's perfect implicit and item level 86. And I think when I was selling them, that was the only above 25 quality that existed on hardcore trade. So very happy with the test. I was not expecting to get tier 1 int, and obviously int is a percentage energy shield. So it's 10% energy shield on the suffix there. And yeah, just very happy with it. The gloves, these were, I had fractured that I found myself. I've been farming a lot of fractured, but I do need to make these better. I can infinitely try basically, because I'm very happy with the suffixes, but I do want, well, attack speed would be very nice. I would maybe want that instead of arrest eventually. Maybe I'll just make new gloves, to be honest. But again, fundamental and dense spam. The belt, I was doing deafening anger, wrath, or hatred until I got other good resistances. And then I don't care that much about the ES right now. I just wanted to make sure I'm res capped. And I'm very res capped right now. The boots, this was literally deafening loathing spam until I hit good suffixes. And when I was happy with the suffixes, I did suffixes cannot be changed, reforged defense. And I hit tier 1 energy shield, exalted 25 movement speed. I was thinking about going for onslaught on kill, but honestly, using it as silver is pretty nice too. Voice of the Storm, obviously very strong for this build with lightning damage with non-critical strikes is lucky. These are 25 divine on hardcore. I've farmed 2 so far. And then I'm using that myself. Chevron's Revelation. This was listed for 5 divine for like 10 days. Nobody had bought it. And I was like, I offered the guy 4, bought that, and then I used the corrupted catalysts, and I didn't hit defense for like 40, but then the first time I hit defense, it hit 20. So very lucky with that. Obviously, this is giving us 300 energy shield and 40 mana regen, so it's very strong. And both the helmet and shield was dense as well. Ephemeral Edge, there's a few ways to get this. You can double corrupt every Ephemeral Edge. I would recommend that on every 45% energy shield and above Ephemeral Edge. Please double corrupt them. But what you can do is you can Varl Orb every Duskblade you find. You can add that to your filter. So I do this for Kitava's Zealot Helmet, for Kitava's Thirst, and Duskblade for Ephemeral Edge. And once you hit either Lightning Leech on the helmet, just for a different build, it's just a profitable thing to do, or a Resolute Technique on the edge, you can use a Tainted Mythic Orb, because neither of these are insanely rare tier 0 items, so you actually have a chance to get them. Other than that, the cluster jewels were probably the biggest pain. You were probably looking at 10 to 20,000 blue juice and reforged defense to hit Feed the Fury, Veteran Defender, and a dead whatever suffix. The other jewels, I basically just want energy shield and attack speed and int. I currently don't have good attack speed jewels, so I will need to craft them myself. And the tree is a little scuffed right now. This is not what most people have, but I feel like I didn't really want attack speed. It feels so good. So I'm currently going for just all the attack speed I can get next. But I do already have like nearly 15,000 energy shield because some of my gear is so insane. So that's currently my update diary on this. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And let me know if you're going to be trying this build yourself. It is a lot of fun. Really, really enjoying. And yeah, 8 more skill points. So I'll be taking another cluster jewel. Either way, thank you so much for watching. Sub if you liked the video. But more importantly, try to die less than I.